There's been an awakening between the dark side and the light.
Hey guys, Brandon Croker here, and welcome to Back to Golden Ticket Reviews, the show where I talk about movies that are currently playing in theaters now. And my gosh, guys, we have finally made it to December 2015 and the release of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Yeah, I actually just got back from the theater, and as you can see, I've got my nice little red saber shirt on, which is either a good thing or a bad thing, but you'll understand when I get into my spoiler review, which will be uploaded later on the channel. Oh, by the way, this is actually going to be an entire spoiler-free review of The Force Awakens, because I really do not want to ruin the experience at all for those who have not had a chance to see it yet. So be aware, you are in a safe zone right now watching this video. There is going to be a spoiler video probably uploaded by the time you're done watching this video. The spoiler video will be up if you have seen it already. And again, if you have not seen it, do not worry. I will not dare spoil it for you because I know that a lot of people haven't got a chance to see it yet because of, the the holidays and all that good stuff. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the nice little holiday stuff. Yeah, The Force Awakens. It is officially time to review the latest blockbuster from J.J. Abrams, the 7th installment in George Lucas's epic space opera saga. The Star Wars mythos is probably one of the most incredibly popular mythos in all of cinema history, sci-fi history, fantasy history, all that. And I've always been like a major Star Wars fan. You can tell by my awesome little Star Wars themed jacket that I actually wore to the theater. You can see it's a really awesome. I got this last Christmas from my parents. I've always been a major Star Wars fan. I've been a huge fan of fantasy. As you can see, I've got my Lord of the Rings Hobbit poster back here, and this has obviously been one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Even more so than Shaun the Sheep the movie, even though Shaun the Sheep the movie was, animated movie, has nothing to do with this, but whatever. Yeah, The Force Awakens. So before we get into my entire opinion and analysis of the movie, the spoiler-free analysis, by the way, again, no spoilers for this video, I guess I'll go into the plot again without spoiling anything. The movie centers around this scavenger named Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, who lives on this planet called Jakku, and she's just a scavenger who's waiting. She's waiting for her family to return, basically, and she actually meets up with this ex-stormtrooper named Finn, who was a member of the First Order, which is the order that was created after the original Empire was destroyed in Episode 6. A spoiler for Return of the Jedi. And basically Finn, Finn played by John Boyega, meets up with Rey, and they embark on this adventure together, and they end up coming across some members of the original, the Millennium Crew, the Millennium Team. I don't know the name of what the nickname is for the original cast members. I think it's Millennium Team, but I could be wrong. Anyway, that goes to and they come across this villain named Kylo Ren, who's sort of the newer version of who's trying to take over at least from Darth Vader, and basically Finn and Rey go on a mission to try to stop him from and I that is all I want to go into without giving away any spoilers. And now I think it's time for my analysis. Wow, guys, my God, before this movie actually came out, there were 3 Star Wars movies that I think it's pretty much everyone's order in terms of like favorite Star Wars movie, if you were to put like the Star Wars movie into like a favorite order, I'm sure most people, not all, but most people would probably go with Empire Strikes Back, followed by the original Star Wars, and then Return of the Jedi. However, now, I think I'm going to have to go with, for my favorite order, it would be The Empire Strikes Back, the original Star Wars, The Force Awakens, followed by Return of the Jedi. Guys, I cannot stress enough how much this movie rocks. And I want to emphasize that I do not at all think this is a perfect movie. You know, there are some, you know, flaws to it, and I'll try to get into that into my when I get to the to what I didn't really think worked at all with this movie. But you know, first of all, I want to get into the positives. And first of all, I really want to praise the writers of this thing. J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan did an amazing job at revitalizing the spirit of the original Star Wars trilogy, which is, I'm sure, going to be good news for most Star Wars fans, because I know how much people really hate the prequels. Personally, I think the prequels are, you know, okay. I don't hate them as much as everybody else, but that's just me. Yeah, and so yeah, it really recaptures the original spirit of the A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi, you know, and that is going to be a major plus for anyone going into the theater, you know, with a sort of mindset of of negativity towards this movie, and you know, hopefully that will get brownie points in their book, you know, and it definitely will, because the writing here is just it really feels like a great continuation of. It feels like no time has passed, you know, even though it technically takes place like 30 years after Return of the Jedi. You know, it feels like no time has passed, you know, and I think that will really earn a lot of brownie points for moviegoers, especially Star Wars fans. The new actors are just the acting all throughout is just phenomenal from everyone involved with it. Mostly everyone, but I'll get into the negativity of that later. John Boyega and Daisy Ridley are going to be superstars. You know, after everyone in the world has seen this movie, these two are going to be getting so many calls from Hollywood because they are so wonderful. They have such great, you know, chemistry together. You know, anytime they're speaking dialogue to each other, they're perfect. Anytime they're speaking dialogue on their own, they are just top notch. John Boyega actually adds some really great, you know, a comedy. You know, there's actually a bit more a comedy to this than some of the original Star Wars films. It's a lot more lighthearted, but you know, John Boyega is just, you know, so wonderful, and you know, and Daisy Ridley is a wonderful, strong female lead, and you know, and she is. I cannot wait to see where she goes from here, because she really did a great job playing Ren, and I cannot wait to see where her character, you know, goes from here. You know, and of course the original cast, most of the original cast. But again, I'll get into that as well. But Harrison Ford is back as Han Solo, and you know, it's so great to see him back as Han Solo. He completely owns this character. You know, he's quippy. He's dramatic when he needs to be. He's quippy when he needs to be. He's fast-paced when he needs to be. He's slow-paced when he needs to be. He's just wonderful. And, you know, and Carrie Fisher just truly wonderful to see her back as Princess Leia. She is so wonderful as she was in the original trilogy, and it's so great to see her as General Leia Organa, not Princess. You know, she's moved up in the ranks. It's good. That's good to hear. Another thing I want to comment about and positives is the action. The action in this movie is phenomenal all around, and you know, and it certainly feels like you're watching like the original, the original sort of battle with the Death Star in the original, and you know, all the TIE fighters shooting, and blasts being shot everywhere and ships flying around. It's truly magnificent. I really feel I missed out by not seeing this on IMAX or 3D, because I mean, it just looks all phenomenal. And the music, John Williams brings it home again with a really, really, really wonderful score. I will admit it's not quite as memorable as the original trilogy, but again, I've only seen like one viewing, so maybe upon like re-watchings of this movie on DVD, because I do plan to get this movie on home media once it comes out. The music it's wonderful. John Williams composes so brilliantly in every single film he does, from the original Star Wars, Jaws, Close Encounters, the Superman theme, and E.T., and just all these amazing scores. And he does he's really, 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 really great here. And Adam Driver, as Kylo Ren, he does a great job in acting. Yeah, I'm really getting off topic. My mind is rambling after having seen this wonderful, wonderful movie. Adam Driver makes such great, a bad guy. He's really complex, and again, I'm going to go more into that in the spoiler corner, so keep an eye out for that. He just really owns this new villain, Kylo Ren, and I cannot wait to see where his character goes from here as well. And Finn, I cannot wait to see where Finn goes from here as well. Again, my mind is rambling. Keep with me. Now I'm going to get into some of the negatives of this movie that, are kind of going to be make or break whether or not you go see this movie, depending on what I feel about the negatives. But, well, here are the negatives. I will admit that the person that they got to play the sort of, I guess, second in command to Kylo Ren, I think his name is Domhnall Gleeson. I'm not saying it was a bad performance on his part, but it sort of felt like he was really, really trying to be sort of like Peter Cushing as General Tarkin from the original Star Wars movie, if you remember. But it almost sort of felt like he was coming off as a sort of, Tim. I don't want to say, like, again, I really don't want to discredit his performance. He did, a really great job with the, he only had like a few scenes and a few moments of dialogue here and there, but he wasn't like the main focus. The main focus was Kylo Ren, but anytime he was on screen, I always felt like it was I was sort of watching like almost like a Tim Curry-esque performance, but again, not discrediting him at all. It just sort of felt like something was kind of off, and and he was sort of anytime he would scream, he would just be like, I want to try to imitate him, but there's one scene where he's addressing the stormtroopers, talking about like the new something new, and and he was very much like, oh God, and he will, and he was just shaking his head, and trying to be all serious, but it kind of felt like it was coming off as, as a Tim, kind of felt like a really eccentric version of Tim Curry, which is really saying a lot. But again, I want to say I'm not discrediting him at all. I just, hope that upon rewatching it, I change my opinion on him, because his performance just sort of felt off to me. And and the second negative about this movie is that it almost sort of feels like there's moments where the movie sort of clings like to Star Wars mythology, which is great, for Star Wars fans like me, because we get to see callbacks to the original trilogy. But there are certain scenes where it definitely feels like they're really, really clinging towards like nostalgia. Like, for example, there's this one scene where Han, Rey, and Finn, they all go into this sort of what I suppose is supposed to be sort of like a reworked version of the a cantina sequence from the original trilogy, and they have this sort of a cantina musical number. I'm assuming that the music is the music was done by my God, I forgot who did the music for the cantina sequence, but like you see all these really freaky looking aliens, and they're really creative designs, and I have nothing against like the whole atmosphere in the cantina, but like the music, like it just sort of like it almost kind of felt like Andy Serkis was singing. If you've seen The Adventures of Tintin, and you heard like his character, Andy Serkis's character, Captain Haddock, singing, just rambling on all drunken like, and and he was just singing, it almost kind of felt like Andy Serkis was singing. I'm not sure if it was, but it kind of felt like it was trying to be, sort of, a reworked version of the cantina sequence, and they did an okay job with the atmosphere, but the music, I mean, the instrumental was okay, but the singing, something just kind of felt, sort of off to me at that juncture, but but hey, that's just me, and again, I love the cantina sequence in the original Star Wars, so to me, that was, again, I forgot about this, but there's actually moments when the Star Wars nostalgia actually sort of works in the film's favor. Like there's this moment where Han and Rey are on Han's ship, and Finn turns on the holodeck, and you suddenly see the classic holochess from the original trilogy, and I hear this was actually new stop motion that was done by Phil Tippett in the Tippett Studio. This was actually newly recorded stop motion footage, and that was actually pretty cool. I actually like seeing that, as did everybody else in the audience. But yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But again, these are all sort of like minor nitpicks. Overall, the entire movie was just unbelievable. It was wonderful. I really love what. Thank you so much, J.J. Abrams. You restored my hope in the forest sector, viewing the prequels, which were sort of subpar best. But thank you so much for continuing this wonderful saga, and you did it justice. You brought it home. In fact, that's actually the overall feeling that I got walking out of the movie. I sort of felt like Han in the trailer where he went, "Chewie, we're home." And that's sort of the overall feeling that I got living the theater. And I cannot thank J.J. Abrams for enough for bringing all the greatness of this wonderful saga back to the big screen. And guys, I gotta say, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, while it may not be a perfect movie, it does have some flaws, maybe nitpicky flaws, but overall, I'm giving Star Wars: The Force Awakens 4.5 out of 5 stars. I highly encourage you all to check out this movie. If you were sort of hesitant about seeing this movie because you thought it was going to be sort of like the prequels, don't worry at all. You will love this movie so much, just as much as I did. And and I feel the only people who probably wouldn't like this movie are like the people who really aren't like big Star Wars fans. And if you are a Star Wars, if you are a Star Wars fan, chances are you'll really like this movie. And if you're not that big into it, chances are this movie isn't going to sway your opinion, but it might. So just watch this movie on your own. Give it a chance. If you're still not a Star Wars fan, by the end of watching it, then okay, the movies will go on, and you'll go on, and I completely lost track of what I was talking about. Overall, I highly recommend Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Thanks for joining me, guys, for the spoiler-free review. Again, I'm going to go into spoilers in another video. Again, if you have yet to see this movie, then I highly encourage you, go do it now. Go to your local cinema, check the show times, go into the box office, pay your ticket, sit down and enjoy jumping to light speed once again. And that is all for the spoiler-free review of The Force Awakens. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my spoiler-free video coming soon. And all I have to say is, may the Force be with you.